What's going on, guys? It's Justice here and welcome to Runescape. In this video I'm going to be talking about the controversial topic of when a new solo boss was announced, and the Jagex have now taken on our feedback. Obviously there was like an instant reflection by Jagex due to the numerous amounts of opinions, negative opinions, against the announcement of another new solo boss, which was going to potentially release tier 95 weapons and gear, and all of that coming from another solo boss. Well, there's a huge amount of negative opinions fed back to Jagex, and within literally a day or two, they have gone back on announcing that it will be solo, and instead the boss is going to be targeted at a group size of between 1 and 5 players, which is giving people the option to solo it if they want to, but it's also giving people the option to go in as a team. How they're going to scale the rewards, I'm not quite sure, but I assume, they'll be scaled relative to the amount of people there, whether each person will receive a, individual drop based on contribution, or an individual drop nonetheless even upon death, or they'll just keep all the rewards the same, and if you go in solo it's going to take you a lot longer than if you're going with a larger team, and then it'll just be up to the community to decide on, what's the best team size to go in. Or they'll just go in it like Nex is currently, where, you can go in solo, it'll take a bit more time, or you can go in duo and it'll speed up the kill and you get the same loot. So we'll have to see how they work out the looting system. All in all though, I'm just glad that they've taken on the feedback from the community. I'm especially happy. I mean, as soon as they announced a new solo boss, and there was no mention of group bosses at all, by the way, at all throughout that entire presentation. So we were actually looking at never receiving a group boss next year, until because they've not even talked about Raids 2. So Raids 2, I have a feeling that's just been cancelled, because there is absolutely no mention of that. Whether that's going to be in a future expansion, I'll be making another video on expansions within the week, hopefully, on my opinions on that and my top 10 anticipated updates for 2017 over the next 12 months. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm very glad that they've announced, or they've changed the fact that this boss is going to not just be soloable, it's going to be group content, and that's what I like to hear. And a lot of people have been asking for a trio sort of boss around that sort of size. They find it easier to find teams in that way. You can go with just a group of mates, because usually it's quite difficult to get a group of 10 people together, for example. So a boss between the size of 1 and 5 is quite a reasonable number. People shouldn't struggle as much to actually find teams, because you can just go with your mates and have a laugh with it. So either way, I'm very, very happy with this announcement. I really just wanted to share it with you guys in case you hadn't heard the news. This was announced yesterday. Mod Ollie tweeted out, "After your feedback on the boss announcement, we have decided to remove the solo limitation. We may consider anywhere from 1 to 5 players." So it is just a consideration at this point, and they've not, they've obviously not decided on a final numbers yet, because they've literally just took on the feedback. They're just letting us know that they're listening to us, guys. Having it between 1 and 5 players as well, it makes the boss more accessible. It pleases a larger audience. It'll please the ones who want to go in solo and are capable of soloing it, because it's going to be a challenge there. And then it'll also give the people who were going in as a group the availability there to go with mates, do it more efficiently, but maybe scale up the boss to make it relevant to a group, potentially. I don't know. There's loads of stuff they can do with it, but I'd prefer the boss to be targeted at group PVMing, where, for example, when Nex was released, it was targeted at a large group of people, or at a group of people, and then eventually down the line, as people obtained the new weapons and gear and new abilities came out, and over the years it then became soloable. So it'd be nice to see it in that aspect of things, and therefore it'll just keep making it more efficient money making wise. So if it comes out and I want it to require 5 people to take it down effectively at the beginning with the current weapons and gear that we've got, and then as people get the gear from that boss fight, they will then be able to go in with smaller teams, so essentially recycling the rewards that teams obtain, and allowing them to then go in smaller teams with the new weapons and gear that they get from this new boss. And that's a really nice system to have in the game, and it makes the weapons more meaningful. It makes the rewards more meaningful, sorry. It actually means they'll have an impact on the game as well, the rewards. And also, making it group, it makes the weapons more accessible, as in there should be more rewards coming into the game potentially. But either way, if that's not even the case, The rewards will be recyclable, hopefully, into the actual boss fight. But not just that, the weapons will also have an impact on other areas of the game, which is what they addressed at Runefest, and that's going to lead me on to this next thing in terms of talking about the Slayer dungeon, which is coming out within the Menopause expansion in June. There'll be a higher need of these weapons and gear as well because of this new Slayer dungeon that's coming out, the buff of the new NPCs and the new mobs that are going to be released into the game. They're going to have a lot higher defense. They're going to have like 90 defense plus, so they're going to be, you know, more difficult in the aspect of you're going to need weapons that can deal enough DPS to rip through their armor and their defense. Mechanically, they're not going to be, you know, anything, you know, major because they're just mobs still, you know, in the Slayer dungeon. Mechanically, they're not going to be like a boss. It's just their defense and their life points are going to be higher, so you're going to need better weapons just to get through them efficiently. Overall, I am very, very happy. I just wanted to share my thoughts. If you guys have watched my video where I go through my thoughts on, you know, recent updates and the future of RuneScape, you know, I avidly expressed my passion for another group boss, and it looks like potentially we're getting it here. I'll show some clips throughout this video, I'm sure I have by now, where you know, it looks really interesting, very dark, desolate area. It looks really spooky, and I think that's going to be the new boss concept for a 1 to 5 man boss fight. So yeah, I'm excited, really excited. I'm just glad to see that we're going to be getting something which we can really delve into and have a laugh with mates. And that's going to be in 2017, and that'll probably be with a future expansion. It'll probably be after the June expansion, so you're looking at maybe September or there onwards. It'll definitely be though like the second half of next year. So still a long way to go until we reach there, but at least we know it's coming. So the Slayer dungeon sounds really cool, but I'm gonna post that in another video. I've got a lot to talk about with that. Sounds really great. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.